Live coverage from the 2017 Canadian Mixed Doubles Curling Championship. We are live at the Nutana Curling Club here in Saskatoon. We have been here all day. There's been 3 tiebreakers, and now finally we get to start the playoffs. My name is Shawn, Joyce, and joining me for tonight's action, we've got probably the most decorated curler in Saskatchewan curling history, Eugene Hritzuk.
Did you say the oldest?
I didn't, but
just about that. Good to be here, Shawn.
How many green jackets do you have in the closet, Eugene? Do you even know?
I have 14.
14, wow.
Well, not in the closet anymore. I've given some away to...
There's some of them in storage?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've given them some away to some Pro-Am events or whatever. I've asked my kids if they want them, and they said, no, Dad, when we cremate you, we're throwing them all in there with you. So nobody wants them. They're only... special to those of us who have had the luck to get one.
Well, these two teams have been sitting around for a while. They played this morning, and we've been here all afternoon with tiebreakers.
Yeah, they'll be fresh. I don't know how the Murphy team is going to manage. They played 4 games and are out here playing their 5th game of the day.
They actually... They had the bye in the first round of the tiebreakers.
Oh, they did. So they didn't play that extra game. Okay. So this is their 4th game.
A broom hit, Morse, okay. Yeah, go ahead and hit.
We've got an interesting combination here in our feature game. Jennifer Baxter, Mark Dacey, representing Nova Scotia, but of course, Mark is a Saskatoon native.
Keep going! Keep going! Whoa, 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 whoa! Let it curl. Okay, let it curl, let it curl, let it curl. Right off, right off, right off, right off.
Yes, very familiar with this ice and this club. I know he's played a lot of games here. He's curled here in the Slam events, World Curling Tour events. Shouldn't say Slam events, they were World Curling Tour events. Way back when, and of course, we curled against him in our competitive men's curling days here in Saskatoon.
Mark's had an interesting week as well. He had some health issues on, boy, what day are we on now? I think that was Thursday.
Yes, it was Thursday morning.
Ended up in the hospital Thursday night, and overnight had to have an MRI done. They had to default their first game Friday. It didn't sound like he was going to be well enough to play, but he's recovered quite well. It does say he's going to have to go talk to a neurologist when he gets back home just to see what's going on, but it doesn't sound like it's as serious as they were first worried it might have been.
You know, if it's anything like me watching this game, like I'm a traditional type of curler, and I sort of have trouble with this this version of curling. I would find it very stressful out there because it just seems like you're so vulnerable.
You're in trouble every end.
Oh, you're in trouble all the time. And I think maybe Mark's issue might have been stress related. If it was me, it definitely would be stress related. Yeah, you're always in a precarious situation. You're always vulnerable, and we've had 6-enders scored this weekend.
And they're not uncommon. It happens.
Yeah, and I mean, you've only got 5 rocks that are thrown each end because they place the guard and one in front, but yet somehow it gets pushed in, and then next thing you know, there's a 6-ender.
We had one of the tiebreakers earlier, back-to-back 5s, one for either team.
So it's very interesting to watch. We've had great crowds here this weekend.
And it's certainly been getting more exciting as the weekend gets on, and that's what you expect, you know, as teams get to play more on the ice. These are all good teams. They get familiar with what the ice is going to do, what the rocks are going to do, and the shots have just gotten better and better, and the games get closer and closer.
Yeah. Well, like I always say, every ice has its personality, and this Nutana Curling Club ice tends to have a real strong swing into the middle, or good finish into the middle, but doesn't go to the wings as hard. So I think everybody's got tuned into where it takes its break and where it holds its line, so we're seeing a lot of really precise shots.
It's over curling.
Like, it's interesting, Mark saying this is over curling. The rock is like about 4 or 5 feet off from its intended line, but that's just how strong it finishes here. Great ice.
Had a few chances to see this sheet 4 now, and it certainly seems to curl more on that in-turn side
Oh,
going towards
yes.
the scoreboard. The curl is still big on the out-turn side, but it's later. That in-turn, you really have to make sure you keep it out there.
And that's one thing you'll often find on curling ices. You know, the theory is water freezes flat, but it's all about the scraping, the pebbling, and how it's been curled on, and you'll tend to find one side will curl more than the other, and one turn will be straighter than the other, so the teams here sure pick up on that quickly. But I mean, the veterans that we got, like Chelsea Carey, you know, what world runner-up. We've had Rachel Holman here, current world ladies champions. Like it's just, the list goes on and on with really notable curlers, very good curlers, well as
You can play easy like it's pretty skinny, like a
well
third,
accomplished
half to a third.
curlers.
There's all kinds of backing, so just gonna guard that side up.
Colin Hodgson trying to come down here and move some things around a little bit.
Small target.
Has to wiggle that Yellowstone in just a little bit to get shot rock out of it, and probably would just be just as happy to roll all the way away. Doesn't want to leave any kind of in-off double.
Yeah, it isn't sometimes what you make, it's what you leave, and here he doesn't want to leave his shooter around. He wants it just to do that, get out of the way, and hard. Yes, he did slice it in, so.
Because even if they somehow tap this, they're not tapping both of those, right?
Carey and Hodgson do have last rock here, throwing the yellows.
Not even throwing a bullet at this.
So this is the final stone.
And then maybe that one counts. No, that one can't count either because it just goes right into that.
For Baxter and Dacey.
Yeah, they have no shot.
Well,
And
okay, so what,
often
do they
you
have
see
a
situations like
draw
this, like
there?
they've got
There?
one
Well,
wrapped
they might
up,
be able to hit
and
enough of the button here. Yeah, that's probably their only
and
shot.
and I think the challenge here with Baxter and Dacey is, okay, let's concede the one, just don't give them a chance to get two. So they'll probably throw up a guard here someplace to stop the draw for two, because there's maybe a draw in the corner of the button for two right now.
I don't see anything for them.
Like as much inertia coming straight back as we can.
Yeah,
This
7
way,
is
right?
nice. So just get out wide and
Yeah, I have to get out.
If it's going, yeah,
I'm not going to throw it in. That's for sure.
if it's going this way, the 5's going to carry.
And this is one of the unusual things about this mixed doubles as opposed to the conventional curling. I've seen so many situations where the team is throwing the last rock and they're throwing a guard to guard the opposition's rock on the button so they can't get another one in. Like,
Yeah.
you normally don't see that. So it is definitely a different type of strategy.
oh, I can get it over. Yeah. Trust me, man.
Mark wanted to jump in there and sweep on that, and he had lots of weight.
Yeah, no, they just needed it over the hog line. I don't know. There may be
You just need firm.
maybe a way to run red onto yellow. That's another challenging or stressful thing about this game. It doesn't matter what you stop. It always seems that there's
Throw where you want to hit
one
it
or
and
two
let
other
the shoot
shots
back
that could be made, but what you got to do is take away the easier shot, but there's almost always something else.
And really this
throw.
red, yellow, and maybe try to split the two reds.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there's any way she can hurt herself
No,
playing
that's
this.
that's
So
the thing.
you can
Yep.
give it a shot,
It's risk reward. There's probably no risk in this.
and you got no other shot for two. And
Yep.
boy, if you ever made it absolutely perfect,
that'd
you
be-
might be able to get four.
Well, it wouldn't be unusual to have a thundering applause up here. Oh, it must
just
have.
lost the line.
Oh, yes.
One.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you got to believe that the Rocks are going to finish on this ice.
Does pick up the single point. That was going to be a really difficult shot to hit absolutely perfect anyway. When you're raising 4 stones, you're at 1/8 of an inch off the first one. You're 3 inches at least.
And
off
here's
the
the challenge in mixed doubles. You don't get the sweeping,
No,
the
exactly.
power of sweeping that you would get in conventional curling, because by the time you throw and run up,
or even the
so-
line call.
even the line call.
The
one or
line
the
call's
other.
coming
Yep.
from the wrong
Yeah,
end. So
that's right.
and they just missed that by just a hair.
Yeah, you know. I sense, with having watched this all weekend here, that there are a few teams that are, and a few throwers that are very effective, and one of them being Dustin Kaltoff, another one being John Morris. they can throw a rock, and I'm telling you, within a split second, they're up and they're sweeping their own stone, even a hit. And I think that gives it a slight advantage. If there is ever to be an advantage created here in this game, if you can get somebody that can throw a rock and get up within a split second, start sweeping it.
To get that early sweep.
Yeah.
That is the thing they miss here.
Yeah. And again, reflecting like on Dustin and Marlies, she always holds the broom, Dustin throws. So she can call the line from in the house better than from behind throwing. So
yeah, we had their game this morning, and it was pretty clear. Dustin wants to sweep every rock.
yeah, even when it doesn't need it.
He was in short sleeves at the game started. He's ready to sweep. He knows he's going to be sweeping.
And let me tell you,
Marlies wouldn't bring a broom if she didn't need something for him to throw at.
I know, and let me tell you, that is a stark contrast from his dad. His dad, Kevin, played third for me when we won the Worlds. If there's one thing that Kevin detested, and he loved the game, but he detested sweeping. His idea of a well-thrown draw shot was one that wouldn't get swept, and he would be dead serious. If our lead threw a draw shot into the house and he didn't have to sweep it, he'd raise his broom and say, perfect weight. Dustin, on the other hand, he likes to get down there.
So we've heard some of these sweepers, after a rock is released, if it's maybe a little bit heavy, they'll say, you know, I don't want to, but you're saying if it was Kevin, he'd just say don't want to anyway?
Oh, yeah.
He just never wanted to?
Never wanted. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't say don't, he say never want to. Here both getting in on the sweeping. You don't see a whole lot of that, but again, I think if there's an advantage to be had in this mixed doubles, is whoever can get the appropriate sweep on the rock will give you a bit of an edge.
And by getting both sweepers on here, they were able to
to
use that directional sweeping. They
drag
made
it
a decision which way they had to go, and brings that right down on the corner. We've seen a lot of setups today at the back of the house. The first stone brought in as a freeze. This is one of the few times we've seen the rock brought in front of the tee line on the first, and there's the corner freeze made now. Colin Hodgson will try to
most of the
sit
times
something on top of that.
Yeah, most of the times I've seen the teams trying to get it to the front of the button.
Good. Getting better, still room. Weight's good. Weight's good. It's there. Perfect. I think we don't want to totally bury it.
Comes and nudges that stone down and leaves himself a nice angle onto the red.
Yes, certainly. And that's a big part of this, is setting up rocks, not for the next shot or the next shot, it's for like 3 or 4 shots later.
Yeah, it's really all about manipulating the angles in this game. Of course, the other factor in that is that even if you wanted to, prior to this stone, you couldn't have hit anything and removed it from play, not just the guards, anything.
Right.
This is actually the first stone of the end where you could remove a rock from play. And, you know, if you're Jennifer Baxter here, you really don't have access to remove a stone easily anyway.
I gather that must have been narrow, because as soon as she let go, Mark was hollering. Still looks.
She's going to be tight by the guard.
Should probably be.
Just feather ticks it, and
wow,
it'll be enough weight to go through.
You called hack.
Well, just through is sweeping all the way.
Do you ever just like the peel?
I can't hear you.
Back line.
Okay.
So now a chance for Colin Hodgson to try to use that angle that he set up on his last stone.
yes.
It's really heavy in here. It's slowing down. It's just tapping it a little. Tapping.
Had to wait for the line. Would have liked to have a little bit more bump than that. But well,
Actually, fairly good communication between the two. Colin's calling the weight. He's letting Chelsea know.
communication was good. The shot, probably not
The
so
line
much.
wasn't there. The line wasn't there. There wasn't much you could do with
I think
it.
they've left a double, if not a triple. Really thin to make the triple, though. Should be happy to make the double and sit in front of that Yellowstone right now. the hit, comes across, just nudges that yellow stone, but leaves her shooter in a good position.
It does.
Oh, you got to move that 7. Move it here. There's a huge wall.
Yeah, just leave them room to smash all of ours, though.
Okay, we got to freeze the pocket then. Here's no good. Here's no good because all the yellows can go. So we have to get inside or we have to move it.
Okay, well, we can move it if you want.
Well, we'll play freeze, and if, like, we'll play freeze. Just we have to get here. White has to get there. Here's not good.
Whatever you prefer.
Somehow, Reds, Colin wants his shooter
You
to
only got 1 to move it, right?
end on top of the corner of the yellow
Yeah, just
one
freeze.
that's on the button. And he says there's 2 ways to do it. We either corner freeze on it or move the red one back and just tip over on top of the corner of the yellow one so that they can't run the red onto red.
This is all about line, though. He has to get to the inside of that red stone. If he stays on the broom side of it all, and that was Chelsea's concern, we play anything on the broom side and move this, there might be a chance to blast the yellows.
Yes.
Tap it?
The weight's there.
You want to tap it?
Yeah, we still got to get to the inside.
Yeah, it needs to curl a mile for that.
Weight's pretty good.
This has got a lot of room by the guard yet, and not sure it's even off the yellow stone. Now starting to move.
Oh, baby, just get
Gonna get just up to the nose and tap it up enough to make sure the red's shot anyway, but he did leave his yellow in a good spot.
Yes, Reds are rather vulnerable there because there's 2 ways to get at the one off the button. Right now you could go, yellows can hit yellow onto the red, or they can hit the outside red one onto yellow, which will take out the red.
Jen wondering about playing the angle on that red on the left as we look at it into the 2 yellows. That's one option. You could kind of play the crotch double on the yellows. Now, the one in the middle of the 4-foot's not going to go. It would be the one biting the button you might be able to kill. You're going to leave 1 yellow at the top of the 4-foot,
This
though.
one on the inside.
Hopefully it doesn't move it.
Try to hit that over.
Okay.
Hopefully they
That'll be a good shot.
Yeah, that was
Rearrange the yellow ones because the yellow ones are not to Baxter and Dacey's advantage right now, the way they're
Be up a
positioned.
little bit. Over up.
well,
So
he
what
could
they got to do is
change that lineup on those 2 in the middle, too.
You got it across the face. You can hit this one first if you hit
I
it
missed the
thin.
guard by a
Yeah, so don't we need less ice?
Less.
should finish in there now. Got out there a little on. Quite a little less weight. Probably would throw there. I don't think he slept it.
here it comes.
Either a little too much line or a little too much weight.
Big weight with the in turn.
Center one first.
Looks pretty close.
Hard. Whoa, whoa. Let it curl, let it curl, let it curl, let it curl.
Makes the hit, comes across, jiggles that just a little bit.
I think enough to rearrange it, maybe
I think
not.
both out.
It's not bad
Hard to
because
tell.
if they play the double on the reds, you've got that red onto the 2 yellows
Yes.
for a pile.
I don't
Yes.
know if he does it real hard, it might just spin up, but I don't think it's spinning over that. Well, if you make this,
Again, another one of these situations in this mixed doubles. It isn't what you're making, it's what you're leaving. You got to rearrange rocks. Here, you always have to have rocks sitting in a position so that you're not vulnerable or that you can create an opportunity later on.
that's possible. You got to play it, but
Well, we just said it was, didn't we?
I think it's there. You think it's there?
I think it's close.
Just lob one in there.
I think so. I'll throw it just like if he knows freeze ours, it doesn't hurt us, right?
No. And if you
So-
tap it, it's a force.
Yeah,
If you can make that hole and tap it to the button, it's a force.
I like it.
Or a steal.
So the discussion is the force now. They're saying, look, if we can, what can we do to hold them to
All you
1
never
here?
do is
Because
tick the guard. So just
If
be
she
aware.
can ever tap it up, she could get shot, but you can't afford to risk
Just blind calling wise, just be aware.
Yeah.
chipping the red
Be a
one.
little
So
cautious.
you can't sweep this until you make sure you're on the inside here.
so the strategy is to leave the force, leave Baxter and Dacey with the 1 counter. And
I think
in a situation where they can't count 2,
they're always going to have a shot on that out turn side.
Yeah.
They could tap the red
You're
up.
there for weight.
They might have to tap it
Line only
directly
right
onto
now.
the yellow at the side of the button.
Line only.
No.
But if she can make the port here and tap the yellow up at all, there's no chance for that.
I think she's light. A little light.
The weight's close.
The weight is close. You're right. The weight's really good.
Now needs to curl a little bit. Made it between the two reds. Actually
There it
rubbed
is.
one of them.
Perfect. Now it's all lined up. I don't know who's counting, but there is.
I
Really
I
good.
would bet it's red, and I think
That is
you
the
got to throw it
power
away
weight
and,
Yep.
and take your one.
And that was, they were talking about the force. They were resigning themselves to
You know,
leaving the Reds count one, but
Colin switched sides as that was coming past the hog line and
Got
he
it
swept
going a
at the
little
end.
too hard,
He
yeah.
actually rubbed that one red stone on the way by. If he gets by that clean, they might have tapped that up enough to be shot rock.
Good force.
for sure.
So Mark Dacey just throwing this stone away. We'll listen. I think it's one red. And that, Colin Hodgson's moved that stone away. So it is one red. We'll be all tied up after 2 ends of play here. And
It wouldn't have been smart to throw anything in there with any weight.
Pardon me?
Wouldn't have been smart to throw anything inside there with any weight. No.
Okay. Colorblind.
Not how this game works.
Which one's where?
We're red.
Sorry, I'm colorblind. This is real tough for me.
That's red.
This is going up here?
I wasn't aware of that. Colin saying he's colorblind. That's
Oh. Wow. Now I'm not up on color blindness, but I wonder what that means with red and yellow, whether that's a problem.
well, it's the red one that he'd have the problem with, I would imagine.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
imagine he knows what color it is, but that's interesting. I hadn't,
Well,
hadn't
so
heard
it's
that.
black and white to him,
Maybe.
or whatever.
I know there were issues here in Saskatchewan a few years ago. They brought in an ice maker to do the provincials, and the rocks they brought with them were green and red handles, and green and red is a fairly common color blindness. And
yes.
there were all kinds of people that had issues with not being able to tell the rocks apart on the webcasts.
Tight, hard. Early. Hit it early. Okay, move up a bit. Move up.
There's one thing about this mixed doubles. It's very entertaining for the spectators. They've been hanging from the rafters here this weekend at Utana Curling Club. It was interesting. I was talking to the lounge manager, and he, based on, we host several events here. We host other national championships, provincial championships, World Curling Tour events here. So he certainly has some familiarity with the requirements in the lounge. He said, as of Friday, he had to make 3 extra trips to the liquor board store to replenish the reserves. He said there were great crowds and obviously thirsty crowds.
Well, and the crowds could get bar service because there are servers upstairs, but the
Hold the
kitchen
back line. It's really heavy
was
right
telling
now.
me that they went the other way. It was like they'd be nothing,
The weight will be
then
okay.
all of a sudden busy because there's so much action here and there's no breaks. There's no open ends. You don't say, okay, well, there's a blank end coming here. I'm going to go get a burger. That doesn't happen.
No.
Once the game starts, they don't leave their seats because you can't. You miss too much.
Well,
it happens so fast.
Here's one thing that I've learned about this mixed doubles watching
if
it,
you
and this
notice
is
that
just my
kid was
own
going
theory,
through.
is that the
If you notice that
score
kid was
is
going through, it's like,
largely irrelevant until the game's over, because you can be in the last tiebreaker. The one team was down 6-2 coming home. The other team scores 4.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Tapping. Back
Whoa.
8.
No line yet.
No, but
Line's good.
back 12.
Whoa, off. Close, yep. Gotta go line. Gotta go line. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ready, curl. Ready, though. Stay ready. Yep. Hard. Go. Good, good. Nice shot.
Jennifer Baxter with a really nice freeze
Yes.
there. Taps it back just a little bit, but her shooter sits pretty much splitting the T line, looks
Yeah,
like,
if I
and
can
she's in
make
front of
that.
the yells. It's real tough to move that very
Although
far.
something tells me, and again, I'm not totally up on the strategy, something tells me that's too far back because too good a position too early. It seems like you got to be up front for the first part of this every end, and then in front of the T line, and then at the right time you get one into the button or T line.
Line only. Line only.
I don't think hers is that bad. It's
No,
still
yeah, actually it
splitting
is.
the line. If
It
it
is.
was
If it was
6 inches deeper, it'd be too deep.
You're right. This one isn't that bad.
She probably would have preferred not to get the little tap, but she had to make sure she stayed on the nose. Her line is perfect. Forces Colin Hodgson to come down and make a really good shot
Wow,
to move
nice.
it, and he does. Now, he did leave the red frozen at the back.
Okay.
Same weight.
Okay.
some of these ends, it almost seems to come down to, okay, how many rocks can bite the button and somebody still only count one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can hit that early.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you can just throw away the 8-foot and 12-foot. You might as well just have a 4-foot and button in this mixed doubles. 'Cause that's where all the play is.
That's where
Until
most
they
of
go
this-
to a power play.
And when they go to the power play,
Then
it
it
gets
changes.
interesting, yep. And we have seen some big counts in the power plays today. We saw back-to-back fives on power plays in a tiebreaker game earlier on.
Well, if it was just about that much tighter on line. That's all.
Move that.
I like that.
Kind of wait.
I think down, like, do you like hack or just bump? I like hack.
Okay.
Good hack.
Jennifer Baxter, a little strong on that last one and sits on the outside, does give Colin a chance to come down, wiggle in off that. The one red's not going anywhere, but could sit two in front of the button, in front of the pinhole on this.
Yes.
Yep. Right to it. Yep. All the way.
Makes the tap, rolls the shooter across. Not sure if he's got second shot or not, but
Yeah, it's
he's
hard
got it
to
in
tell.
a really good spot.
Back 4.
Okay.
Sometimes we need to ask, well, and even when he moves over, I think it's the red at the back of the
Yes.
It looks like the red at the back has got a little wee piece of the button. Not much that Jennifer can do on that out-turn side, so playing the in-turn to try to remove one Yellowstone.
Yeah.
This is really going towards the guard early.
Oh, it is curling. This is the side that you said curls a little harder, right?
Well, and earlier, that's the big thing.
Oh,
And
she
she's
did get it by.
Manages to get into the pocket of those two.
Yeah.
Well,
second shot, maybe?
It's
I don't
not
know.
perfect, but it's not bad. The red-yellow combination in the front is good. It clears everything.
It's either that or here.
Yeah, I don't think that either. They make
It's kind of interesting on the
Even if I
Jason
move it, it's
sheet.
really
Jason
good, like, you can
Gunnlaugson
see.
threw a peel, removed 6 rocks out of the rings. Somebody was saying they've timed him. Apparently, there's a YouTube video of him throwing a 5.3-second hit.
I don't think it's a disaster.
Is-
But I obviously
That's a good weapon to have in this mixed doubles, though, because when you get clusters like this, sometimes if you can throw that high hard one
Yeah.
with precision,
We might hook these if they
And then it doesn't matter if you sweep it, because really at that speed, the sweeping's not doing much anyway.
that's why I say if you can throw it with precision, because you're right, sweeping isn't going to really affect a rock. You can hardly get any licks in 5 seconds.
They talked about trying to play something on that
Is that enough?
left side of the sheet as we're looking at it.
What do you
Now I
think? Is that
think
good or
what
is that
they've
a lot?
decided
No,
on is
I
just
don't
the
think we can
guard.
hurt ourselves with more.
They're always going to have the shot on the other side, and really it doesn't look like there's a whole lot that
Should be good.
Mark and Jennifer can do about it on the other side. So you take this one away.
Never under curling.
How's the line?
Over and off. Unless you can bounce it, it needs to sit.
It's pretty high.
It needs to sit. Wow.
I think they blocked the path in.
I don't know if they did, but yeah, no, I think you can make that with enough on that turn, the way
Yes,
that
the way it
curls.
finishes. Yep, I agree.
So high that won't come into play really.
That
You gotta
guard, even from the hog line in, it probably curl a foot and a half.
I guess.
It's close.
I said that.
I actually I can't hear you. Just put your arm out and wiggle it or something so I know. Because I kind of hear just.
That's really
Regardless, they can hit this on the outside and get their deuce. Or they can
Yeah.
hit this on the nose. I can't guard both of those.
no, I know.
So that's a shot.
I would do that.
Okay. Probably.
Yeah, I think so. The guard's really high, so as long as you buy the guard, you should
Yeah.
curl.
Yeah.
They looked
The
long
weight
and
isn't
hard to
as
see who had
big a
second
deal
shot.
as
I'm
much
not
as getting
sure
Online.
Yeah.
that they know which one is second shot, and really it doesn't matter. If he can make the tap here,
You probably need an 80 just to make sure you can tap it, eh?
Yeah, was thinking more than that.
I think the tap you'll be shot at the front and
I hate
not.
to be on the perfect line and tap it and then not get in there. Like that would just be.
Yeah, it's again, they can tap it, but I think their concern is what are they going to leave? It's just a matter of where the rocks will be positioned after you do this.
Just backy for
Mark Dacey with a lift delivery. You don't see very many people doing that anymore.
No, certainly we had discussed that
off.
earlier in the day with Jim Cotter doing the same
Make
thing.
it curl if you can.
Certainly not with draws either. You
Hard.
still see a few that lift their hits.
Go.
Does he have enough
He's
weight
got
for this?
tons of room by the guard.
Does he have enough weight? He had to have like back 8 weight.
Go.
Not enough weight.
Moved it up just a little bit. Now
I don't know.
Well,
it might make it even more debatable over who's got 2 right now,
Right.
or whether it's 1 or 2, but there's definitely a shot to get the second one.
You just need to wiggle it in there.
So we just play for 2, you think?
Oh yeah, there's no shot for 3. Yeah, there's, well, or is there? Can you?
Yeah, I'm not so sure there isn't.
How much can you see?
But you only have to touch that, is all I'm thinking.
I know, but from that hack, you got edge on edge nose, so you got to get inside by a lot. I don't think you can make that.
I was thinking quiet weight, but
But you need to throw peel to make that get out of there, don't you?
I don't
thinking
think
throwing
so.
a red
Further
double.
away from there.
Well, I think what Chelsea was looking at is trying to get to the inside of that yellow.
And Colin's
have
thinking
the
throwing the red double. He was saying throw
Yeah,
it hard.
yeah.
we can't hit it.
Well, no, he was thinking she's got to throw peel to make the shot she's looking at. I don't know that she does because she only has to move it 6 inches. She doesn't need to get it out. She just needs to get it far enough that
Third.
if she can get to the inside of the yellow, the other 2 reds at the back, behind that yellow, they both move. They don't have to move very far. And the question is whether or not she can get the shooter to come across and nudge that stone that was just raised up about 6 inches to the side.
Yeah, it's tough.
I agree with Chelsea. I think you could make that with quiet weight. You only have to move. You only need to move it 6 inches is plenty. And if you ever hit the yellow too thick, you're getting 2 anyway.
That's good.
Chelsea with that strong extension on the release.
Get off.
Oh, that's not
Might need
anywhere.
this to curl a little bit yet.
Oh, it might have.
Touched it just enough. Looks like they will pick up their
Holy.
2. Not quite the way they had it drawn up. I think they were planning to play it off the red, but it works. They pick up 2 points, and they'll take the lead into the 4th end of play.
I thought we really had to go on it early.
You know, I thought you did too. That didn't.
Good shot.
Backed it off and then it just sat there. I was tight early. Like I didn't set that at all, and I slid tight where I wanted.
We're about 4 minutes behind.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
That was an interesting comment there from Colin in the 4th end, and they keep track of the pace that they're playing at. They start with 22 minutes, and he's talking about being 4 minutes behind the pace they need to play already after 3 ends.
Wow.
That's hard to make up time in this game, too.
Yeah. By this time, we can't see the time clocks, but at this stage of the game, they should have 11 minutes left. So that means
at the 4th, after the 4th end, they
the
should have
4th
11 minutes. If he's 4 minutes behind, he might already be down to. I guess it's about 2.5 minutes an end, so they should be.
maybe they're already at 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Curling early, I think, right?
And you keep playing complicated ends, and it gets real tough to bank any time.
It's all the way to it.
Okay, well then.
It's moving it. It's like back 8.
Well then.
We haven't seen anybody run at a time. We've seen some clocks get very, very low down. In fact, Nancy Martin did the last game with me, and she had mentioned one of their games, they were down to 5 seconds.
Oh, I've seen a few clocks wind down to under a minute to seconds left. So
I guess the one advantage they have here with the way the clocks are set up, and the home end, they're shooting towards the clocks. A lot of times at competitions, when you're playing the home end, the clock's behind you, and you can't see that.
Right.
I've seen it once or twice on televised events where one of the brushers is giving you the countdown so you can come out of the hacks. Here, at least you can see that last minute counting down. They know exactly how much time they have. Mark, something not quite feeling right there, did a little bit of a reset. Chelsea coming a little heavy on that stone. Bouncing off does give them a chance to get something in front of the tee line behind cover.
Yep, keep it straight, keep it straight.
Looks like he's got nice weight for it too.
And again, Mark jumping in there to sweep. Might have been a little over anxious on that one.
Didn't really need it.
No, it is super fast yet today.
Yep.
We had one that we heard earlier. Somebody timed the rock at 14.9 and it was in the back of the house.
Wow.
Line's close.
Here we see Colin Hodgson already in the hacks and getting this one away quickly. They're going to try to make up some time here, it looks like.
It's there.
Yeah, it looks
And you
like
mentioned time. They get each team gets 22 minutes of thinking time. And
Back button.
in this case, no clocks are running as the rock is moving down the ice. Now that the yellow rock is stopped, the red time clock starts, and it's going because this is called thinking time, and it's ticking down, and until the rock reaches the back line of the house, the clock will keep going. So right now, while Baxter's standing there, the clock is ticking.
And again,
And now it stops, so.
a little bounce out. It gives, again, room for Jennifer to get to the inside of this stone. Try to move the yellows a little bit. They're coming after this with some weight. She can make the double and sit
Might
three
make the double.
and get behind cover. Makes the hit, makes the double,
Wow.
rolls behind cover,
What
and
a
they
great
do sit
shot.
three.
Top this in.
You don't, or do you like the run or no?
We don't have time.
Pick a shot and throw it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Oh.
This is going to be close.
You kidding me?
Oh.
Well, and on top of everything else, didn't hit it far enough off the nose to get the shooter out of the way.
You're
He's
right.
still covering that stone. In fact, that yellow, the red stone at the edge of the button wasn't actually dead buried before. It probably is now.
Tuck your corner.
Yes, it is.
This is a chance to sit four behind cover with last rock. And I don't care what format you're playing, that's a pretty good situation to be in.
No kidding.
How's your weight? How's
Top
your weight?
4.
Whoa.
This has got a lot of room, though.
I don't want to. We're
Definitely wants to tuck a corner here.
Or short. Leave it short if you're not going to tuck it.
there. Yeah, finish it now. Finish it. Go. Yes, you may as well. Go. Ah, man. Ugh.
No, she left it exposed. Now Colin can make the double.
Yep.
Kind of wait.
What's that?
Just normal.
Yeah. Well, I was making sure. I didn't want to bury completely.
You wanted to do better than that, though.
Jennifer was wondering if it was too much ice. That's a lot of weight for what they were playing. It was all the way to the freeze on its own. They needed that top 12, top 8.
Is he passed? Is he passed? Yes,
He
he's
is,
past
yep.
the guard.
Inside.
Makes the double. His shooter will sit right
Wow.
there.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
believe we missed that run. Like,
Huge swing
like
and
a
2 shots.
triple all day.
It looked like Reds.
They're not
We're
out of
sitting
trouble
good,
yet,
but-
though. There's room for Jennifer to get that by the two
Oh,
reds at
for
the
sure.
back and get a little bit of a flip in behind cover.
Yes.
What do you like, hat?
I was kind of thinking board.
Board? Okay, board.
Just make a double. I gotcha. Just make it then.
Whoa. Yep.
Good soft.
Whoa.
It seems to be running a little straight,
Yeah.
a little bit straighter
Still
than they're
got a curl.
expecting.
Off, easy curl.
Wants to get at least to the nose. Might be able to get it off those reds.
It's
Hard mark.
going to work just fine.
Go.
Enough to sit two anyway, and can't tell whether that red hung on in the back, but the yellow is still definitely beating it
You
out.
play easy, like,
You're trying to make it across the face? Or you just want to
Oh.
stop it?
across the face if you can, right?
Yeah.
I think you make it with easy though, right? Like that's over buried, right? So like if you roll out, it's an easy, it's a 3, right? You gotta stick the shooter.
Yeah.
I think you can make it with easy.
Yeah.
Do you like that or no?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to throw more weight, but we have to stay.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Like they're super lively. If you hit any close rate spot, they'll still go. Stuffing's really good.
Yeah.
Give up 2 is fine.
Yeah, I'm going to probably let this kind of curl up close to stuffing and then try to sweep it back if anything, because then we're sure to stick the shooter right.
You need just a little less than 3/4. 3/4 is close though.
Okay. Yours curled at the end, but it
Don't
helps.
go by my throw. It'll run straight. I made that move a bit.
So it looks like they're throwing the double.
Yeah, they were just talking about which way to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I'm still not 100% sure which way they decided to go. I think across the top.
No, he said hit only 3/4, so that would be the other way. Uh-oh. This is curling. This is curling. This is curling.
Whoa, baby.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Was that ever close?
I like you. Sweepers like you.
It's quite the look on Chelsea's face. I think she's pretty happy to have had Colin sweeping that stone.
It bends, I mean.
Yes.
Able to get it by and
That's
kill
it's a
one of
great
them.
shot. Hold him to 2, as Colin said. Look at, we can give him 2. That's fine.
Spots of ice on the draw.
You know what?
Yeah.
Take the guard and they hit for 4.
Well, it's exactly where I went. That's the exact path I went on my first
All right,
shot.
you just ask him.
Same shot.
Yeah, but it curled right like early.
Mark will be drawing for his second point here.
You can go ahead and hit it. Try to give you like 3 for the extra.
Does have to take enough ice for himself here to get by that stone at the top
Yes.
of the 8-foot, and
He does.
that could change the speed a little bit.
On the heavy side.
Could be in a bit of a slower path here because they haven't played very many stones out there, and you'll have a little more. Pebble will be a little bit sharper, a little more frost.
Looks like plenty of weight from here. He's got room coming
Looks
by
like
the
a-
yellow.
Looks like a good shot.
No mistake for Mark Dacey. Puts that right on the corner of the button, picks up his 2 points, and we're all tied up once again after 4 ends of play. And it will be the team of Chelsea Carey and Colin Hodgson with last rock in the 5th end. And the 2 teams do get a bit of a break here in the 8-end format. We haven't had a break in a while because in the 6-end tiebreakers, they weren't taking a 3rd end break.
They take 1 minute between every end, and between the 4th and 5th end, they take 3 minutes. So
we've got a moment here. We'll just update everybody on the other 3 playoff games. On sheet 5, we've got the team of
Kasner and Keltoff.
Kasner and Geltoff. They are trailing going into the 5th end, but they will have last rock. It is Birchard and Gunnlaugson, the Manitoba team, have a 3-2 advantage, but Kasner and Keltoff do have last rock when they resume in the 5th. Also about to resume in the 5th on sheet 6
Is who's curling with Epping?
Lisa Weigel.
Lisa Weigel.
And it's-
They have 2. And we can't see because
And
the
it's-
officials are standing in front of the
It'll
scoreboard.
be, that's got to be Dana Ferguson and Brendan Botcher
Right.
are
They've
who
got-
they're playing against, but I think the score is 2-1.
It is 2-1.
Okay. And it's Botcher and Ferguson trailing there, but they do have last rock when the 5th end resumes. And also, just in their 5th end or 4th end break, ready for the 5th end to resume, it is the Murphys, having come through all those tiebreakers with a 5-3 lead over Kaylin Virtue and Charlie Thomas.
Now that's something because they were up 6-0. They've played, this is their 4th game today, and I thought their legs would be giving out on them. And they took 1 in the 1st, stole 2 in the 2nd, and stole 2 more in the 3rd to take a 5-0 lead. But Virtue Thomas came back with a 3-under on the 4th.
So it will be the Murphys with last rock in the 5th end there. And so all 4 games moving at about the same pace. Yep. Everybody ended up in their 4th end break at the same time. And I find that especially interesting because we know on our sheet, Colin Hodgson and Chelsea Carey are a little bit worried about time already.
Yes.
So that's telling me that maybe all these games are a little bit tight for time.
Yeah, your bones are feeling it, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how you'd ever get warm from that. I'm cold from playing 4 games of curling in one day.
And I guess not just the curlers feeling it. That sounds like Jennifer Baxter talking to perhaps one of the officials about how tired they are. This has been a long day for everybody involved. And of course, for the volunteer staff here, we had to find some extra timekeepers. You don't have all of that stuff booked for tiebreakers because, of course, you don't know whether you're going to have any or not. And it wasn't just one tiebreaker at a time. We had 2 games, then 2 games, and then 1 game.
Yes, and some of these teams out here played the first draw this morning at 8:30. So
yeah.
That's what your last one was.
Lawrence Kucheran, the ice maker here, has had nothing but tight turnarounds since that 11:30 draw. There's been extra ends in every draw, and we were behind a little bit as it was with trying to calculate who had to play in those tiebreakers. So,
and Lawrence has done a masterful job in prepping the ice and staying on top of things.
And we're back underway here. Mark Dacey playing the outturn draw. You know, Mark spent a night in the hospital. They had to default a game, and he still wants to sweep every rock.
Hey, Mark has never been short of intensity. I remember when we used to play him in men's here in Saskatchewan, in the 90s? There was nobody could match his intensity. He still got it.
And it wasn't that he really needed to go for the weight there. He had plenty of weight. You could see he tapped that back, but they did lose one a couple ends ago, over curled and came right out the other side.
This is the curling turn going toward the scoreboard away from the home end. This in turn tends to finish very hard. Won't be surprised to see him sweeping hard, and there he is.
I don't know if that's getting by the guard.
No, it isn't. And of course, when you have a rock that curls that hard, it's good. Weight comes off of the rock too, so you got to really anticipate. There's 2 different weights. If you're throwing an out turn down there, and as a curler at this level, they have to be aware of this, and they are. And there's probably 3 or 4 feet difference in weight, maybe even more, on the straight turn as opposed to the swingy turn.
And it's just because the rock's traveling a different distance.
Yep.
The rock that curls has to travel farther to get there.
Yep.
Hard! Real hard! Real hard! Real hard!
I think Mark means real hard.
Yeah.
Go! Go, 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 go. You got it, go, go, go. Okay.
Look at that. What? How well swept was that, huh?
Boy, that's, but again, a testament to the ice.
Yes.
If that's on the tee line, it's completely out in the open past that guard.
Exactly. Colin going with a high, hard one, straight back.
Got to try to create some room here.
And this time he makes it. He's tried a couple of those before and just missed them. This one, great shot.
I'll just be a little more positive.
Yeah, same ice.
Another chance, however, for Jennifer Baxter to come down, and she'd love to freeze this right on the face of her own stone. That one stone that they've got sitting back there is back button. If they could freeze to the face of it,
yes,
this stone would take 2 rocks to kill. And
just before throwing it, Jennifer shut it down to Mark. I'll release this a little more positive, which means that she set it back to the broom a bit so it doesn't start curling as early.
We're there.
And of course, this one then gets back past the guard with more room and ends up in a great spot. Again, forcing Colin to play the straight back on the guard. And these are tough shots without sweeping.
These are tough shots, yeah. Well, these are tough shots even with sweeping when it's
Yeah,
that far that he's got
exactly,
to run it
because
back.
you've got like 2 millimeters of tolerance, maybe not even that, in how you hit it. And
but dead stuffs it.
Wow. That's still good because now the yellow one's there, and that's always, there's always an opportunity there to run something into the yellow one, for the Hodgson Casey team, run the yellow one into the red one.
But the other side of it is when you're playing in this mixed doubles, and again, we make the comparison to regular curling. We've done that a lot today, but you only get to deliver 5 stones. It's almost like, in a regular game where you're throwing 8, you get into about last second stone and maybe the first third stone. You say, well, it's starting to get late. Well, that's where you started here. you're running out of rocks already.
You're late when you start throwing with this format.
You know,
this is incredible.
They've got that that stone on the button, and you're running out of rocks.
Already, before you've thrown one, you're running out of rocks. No, that's what makes it so interesting.
No, I don't like that. Is that there?
The shot through the hole is what they're looking at.
We've seen this intern again finish really hard, so this should come in there with the right weight.
Yeah, Colin asked if it was there. I have to think it is.
But he's got to be careful because there's so much curl here. If he's at all light.
Or if you start wicking things, that's how you could really get in trouble here.
Wow. Is this any good? Is this any good? Oh, how close was that?
Oh.
Well, you know, he opened up the hole a little bit.
Bad.
Still not bad. He opened up the hole again for if he has a chance to come through there. There's a little more room. Plus, his shooter spilled out to the outside of those guards there so he can slash it in now.
He's got shots from both sides.
Yes, he's got shots from both sides. And I think that's huge in this mixed doubles. If you've got options, if you've got something coming in from both sides.
Well, I don't see it going anywhere on either side of it. I don't. So this is their shot for shooting cap on that. So lots of ice away out.
And what Mark is saying, like their best shot is to.
Because this will still be full 4-foot.
Mark thinks that tap is still going to leave the red at the back.
Yeah, but he's concerned about that because that's their best shot, so he wants to guard it. And that's again often in this game. What you do is you look at it from the perspective. Okay, this is the way we often look at situations like this. If Mark doesn't throw a rock, what are they going to play? You go, okay, they're playing this one likely. Well, then we got to deal with that.
Mark, do you think I'm the intern?
What's that?
How greedy would you ever want to be here, Gene? I'm just wondering, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, but if you could play the out turn down here with the guard, the tight guard weight, just chip the red one that's tight, move it over 3-4 inches, move your shooter over. You could actually take away both shots.
You can, and you know, Shawn, I
But it's a
remember
touchy shot.
we haven't done that much in our curling.
Actually,
but
for that
years
matter, you
ago,
could do it with the yellow too.
Yeah, you could. I remember years ago when I was curling in men's, we used to do that quite a bit, and it's surprisingly.
That's a touchy shot with one sweeper, though.
With one sweeper, it's really tough. But it's surprisingly easy, believe it or not.
Move up, move up, move up.
We don't need to for weight.
To split a guard and create a double guard.
Okay, let it die, let it die. Let it die. Whoa.
So Mark blocked off the shot that he thought that they were most vulnerable with, but or
I'm-
did he?
I'm-
Did
I'm
it over
not-
curl,
I'm not sure he did, but Chelsea and Colin already down on the way down to the other end, and part of that factors into the fact that they're tight for time.
Yes,
So they didn't wait for that rock to stop.
You know, and here's the thing about curling, and for any curlers that are listening, as soon as Mark calls a shot, which is a guard, you might as well be thinking of your strategy and your shot because you know they're probably going to make it. So they could have their shot predetermined before Mark's rock is even stopped, and that way you can keep the pace of the game going the way it should.
Well, and this is probably their best shot for one. It's just that if Mark's right about the angles, there's no shot here for two.
Pretty thin right now.
They're throwing a
Guess it's gonna
slash
have
in
to
there.
come up. Yep. And just catches it too thin, so it will be a steal of one.
Yeah.
Mark Dacey, Jennifer Baxter will take the lead into the sixth end. Will be Colin Hodgson and Chelsea Carey still with last rock. We haven't seen any power plays yet, and we've talked about this with everybody I've had partnered with me today, Gene. So far today, we have all the power plays have been played in the last two ends in the games that we've featured.
I timed several games, and all the power plays were in 7 and 8.
Yeah, but we're going to see one here in 6. Not that there's anything wrong with holding to the last two ends, but I always wonder you're in a little bit of danger if you wait for the last two ends and you happen to steal one at the wrong time. You may not get to play your power play.
Well, I timed several games here, and there The majority of them
I can
didn't
see a
use a
piece
power
on the
play.
outside.
Oh, really?
There you go.
Yep. Well, I don't know about majority, but half and half, I guess.
Well, it's
Nah,
when
you
you save
know
it
what?
for
I
late,
take that
it's
back.
really
I
easy.
take that back. I think there were some games that there were no power plays, but now that I think about it, the majority of them had at least one power play.
Okay, I think.
Yeah, I think so. There's been a few hits down the middle.
That's the
so I
one
think you're
danger.
right
You
up.
you save it to the end, and
I
there
think
is
a
always the
90 will
chance
do
that
it, Mark.
one team might not get to use theirs.
With the other half.
Which, you know, is great. If you're 4 up, you probably don't care if you use the power
Yeah,
play, but
exactly.
it doesn't always work that way. Now we've seen a few different approaches to playing this from the defensive side, too. Looks like Mark is going to try the corner freeze
Go ahead.
on the Yellowstone.
Rate's pretty close.
Got room by the guard. Comes up a little bit short.
Yep.
Maybe the worst part is he's got a fair bit of that underneath the corner guard, so it actually
right.
acts as a second guard for that
Yes,
stone.
it does. Unfortunately for them.
Now Chelsea Carey going to look to split the rings here.
Usually they've been just throwing to the other side when we see things like this. Situations like this arise with the power play.
And of course, with the rules as they are, Baxter and Dacey can't hit this stone yet.
That's right.
So it's as if you've got
A guarded rock
a guarded
in the house.
rock in the corner, on the other corner. Split rings with both of them undercover.
I imagine they'll be throwing the red guard double.
Well, they can't yet.
They can't throw the red guard double
They
yet?
can't hit anything yet.
Oh,
They
yes,
can,
one more stone. You're right.
They can move one up, and that's
Yep.
what it looks like they're
So
going
that's
to
what
do.
they'll be playing.
And really, this is all about trying to take away the corner.
No. No.
Rate's close.
Looks
Yeah,
like
you
there's
gotta turn
lots of
around.
line here, so they're going to have to wait for it to
Yeah, just
curl.
Too positive. Can we come around it?
No, it's heavy.
Shoot.
Well,
Ooh, we're not hitting it.
Oh,
A
yeah,
lot of
too
line
heavy to be
and
second
too much
shot.
weight. Not a good combination. And that will slide far enough back that it's third shot. So a chance now for
Then they freeze.
Colin and Chelsea to try to sit 3. Where do you put this rock?
That's the worst. Then they might have a triple. Can we guard?
Colin just throwing a rock into the top of the rings,
Weight's pretty good.
trying to get another one in play. Might as well load up the rings with counters.
The trick here is trying not to leave.
A triple.
Well, at
or a
least
double.
don't leave a triple. It's pretty hard not to leave a double here right
You're
now.
right.
I didn't want to leave them the triple again.
And we apologize. We've lost the feed on Chelsea Carey's mic. We'll see if we can get that back before the game's over.
Do we not have a double and roll?
I didn't want to tee anything up where they couldn't make a double and roll over, right?
well, this and this are both beating out that.
I didn't want to go top 8 and leave a 4 double. That's the worst. Or a hit and roll over.
Jennifer
I
wants
think
to make a
just this
play
for
on
now.
that stone.
Okay.
Mark's looking to ignore it for now.
All right, board.
Hey, you don't have all of it.
Huh?
You don't have all of it.
You want hack?
Yep.
Just hack weight to move it over the rings to be lying second, third, and fourth shot is what they're looking at.
Whoa.
And the danger with a shot like
Yes.
this,
Whoa.
if you
Whoa,
hang out
yep,
too much,
yep.
you roll away.
Yes!
If you ever rub that stone coming by, you could push that yellow in for third.
Whoa,
Looks pretty good.
off.
Looks pretty good.
Makes the hit, stays right there.
Good shot.
It is shot rock, but fully open.
If Colin can hit this and just tip into the inside a bit, he might be able to roll behind that rock in the top of the 12-foot.
On this one to get by their own, not going to, but does promote it into the 8-foot.
For second shot and hangs around for another biter. Actually rolled it to a pretty good position. I don't know if, I guess all they have was a nose hit.
Yeah.
All that
The nose hit's not bad. There might be a double back, but it probably jams on the yellow. That's
the
second
problem.
Shot, yeah.
That's the problem. You can't make the double because the red one is going to prevent the
Control.
one rock from leaving the rings.
On the out.
Yeah, I was thinking even a little less than that.
What? Okay. Up, up.
Most of the discussion there really just about the weight they wanted to play.
Weight in the ice.
Yep, you gotta go.
Heavy board.
Gotta go. Really gotta go.
Has to stay on the nose. Doesn't have much room to roll to the outside or won't be shot rock. Actually
my
clips the
goodness.
yellow and comes
Oh
across
my
and nudges
goodness.
the other one, but fortunately doesn't kick it out of the 8-foot. However,
Wow.
If you wanted me to throw more
definitely
weight,
a-
then you need to like tell me that because that's never going to be enough weight for board or ice for board.
definitely a hit there for 3. You could, if you had really had to, you could play the double
Double
for
to
4.
line 4. Exactly. But 3 would be good.
Colin
There it
Hodgson
is.
brings that stone right down, makes the hit, rolls across to the back of the button.
Now there's maybe a triple. A yellow triple. I think you would have to. Is that red guard in the road to slice this over? And
It's hard to tell unless we get, if Mark could just move over, we could maybe tell where the camera angle is. That's, you know, it's hard to tell. They're going to call their timeout and talk about this a bit.
Pretty good. Going 2 if I can make it.
yeah, this is a good call. Mark's not worried about the triple. He said if he hits that rock that's right in front of his body and just spills over to the right in front of the other yellow one,
But then I'm not sure I kill that one because I don't think I play enough weight.
they'll be lying 1 and they'll have to concede 2.
I don't know. It's whatever you think you can make.
I mean, I could try this double, but my shooter's going to go up if I throw any weight. I got to play it with just enough to make it.
Yeah, no, that double's too thin, I think. You'd almost have to play it to miss it, but then you're not going to be able to have enough weight to get that all the way
I
out.
know. So it's more of like a hacker board weight shot with the option of a hit and roll. So if I played board weight, I could hit and roll
But
to
there's
here.
a huge difference between like a thin double and a
I
hit
know,
and
I know,
roll
you
here.
gotta make a
well, you gotta
decision.
make, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But there is a
Well,
chance.
what do you like? You
there
have
is
to
a
throw
chance.
it.
There is a chance for a double and hold them 2 if
Are they
Call a
married?
shot.
They talk
Call
like
what
they're
you're gonna
husband
do.
and wife.
Yeah. Well, actually, not so much. We've seen a few husbands and wives out here, and it doesn't matter how you throw it.
I
You
mean,
got to say
nose
nice
isn't
shot
bad.
when you're playing husband and wife.
I was going to say, there isn't a whole lot of diplomacy here.
Yeah, no.
well, nose catches this one.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it
Like
does.
just the inside hair of nose.
Oh yeah, that's different than nose.
Okay, well, can we call a shot? Like if we're arguing over pebbles here.
Okay, so hack weight, hit and roll.
Okay.
And if it overcurls and it just ticks this and hits that, this stays. They draw for 3.
Okay, well, let's just call one shot and
I
worry
know.
about one shot.
But I'm just trying to make sure it's not 4. That's all.
Well,
What do you think for ice? I think about that.
yeah.
Okay, let's make it. Let's go.
Well, they're in some trouble here. Chance to get out of it if they can make the hit and roll that Mark was talking
Hit and
about.
roll about 6 inches or foot. Hit and roll a foot at the most. And they'll have to draw for 2 then.
Yeah, I think even the 6 inches you're talking about, because that guard's there, and even the red at the back would be something they could jam on. So
Okay.
definite chance
Give you a good throw here.
to dodge some trouble here with a little bit of a roll. Dacey with that lift delivery here, looking for the hack weight.
Yeah.
Yep. Hard. 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 Hard.
This must be close.
Whoa. Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Off on's just about always a good sign. This has got to curl a little bit yet. This is awful close to jamming.
Wow.
And does
That
get
is
it just
such a
by.
good shot. Did he roll enough or does he leave? He might have not rolled quite enough.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she'd have to play the double, I think.
Yes.
We go for
If,
4.
if there's enough room, there's a double count 4.
The
like
danger
a
is
bump
if you
to
ever
me.
jam it, you're only getting one.
No kidding. You're right. But
Yeah.
risk reward. I mean, you
Good.
make it. You're counting 4. If you don't, you count 1.
Well, okay, so if you're going to hit it high at all and you're not going to make the double
But
this
two
way, you
still
got to go
gives you the
thin,
lead.
because this is going to come this way, right? So I think it's a bump and you're trying to get inside. That guard is a guide for your line, right? I think you try to, and if it's not going to get there, we sweep it and you make it the other way. Make it the other way is so much harder, though. It's real tight.
They're looking at the options. If he doesn't, it
You
must
get
be.
inside
We're not
nose
at a perfect position here to really see the angle either. And
No, and even from this, our camera's right on the center line,
Yeah.
so it's
Oh, I think you
it's
gotta
going to
go
be
quiet.
tight to the guard because
Yeah.
Give him a chance.
this ice doesn't curl that hard to the outside. It curls hard to the inside from the hog line in, but it doesn't curl hard
If
to
you
the
throw normal,
outside.
I
So
think
they're
you
going to
gotta
have
throw,
to
like, at the center of the stone.
just shave the guard to get the double. I don't even know if that's there.
If you want to throw normal,
But Colin's saying that
that's okay too.
if you get by and you hit, let's say, 2/3 of the red one, let's make sure the shooter rolls in toward the button till we get
Yeah.
so we can get our deuce. And that's what you often have to do. You have to play. There's a plan A and a plan B in curling, and this is one of those situations.
Oh, Gene, on my teams, I go a lot farther down the alphabet than just Plan B.
Wow, this is close. This is so
Makes
close.
the hit, but
Oh,
goes
it
just by the back
overcurled.
one.
Wow, so that's for a deuce anyway.
Does get their 2 points and
I didn't think that was possible.
will take the lead.
She said, I didn't think that was possible for it to
Yeah.
overcurl.
I don't think Colin did either. That
Wow.
does get them 2 points and the lead.
Yeah.
Got by the guard and missed it.
He just
And
gave
we
them
might see another power play here because
I'll fix
He
it.
just gave them 3.
for Dacey and Baxter, if you don't use yours here, you might not get a chance.
Generous to this yellow team. I'm going to call bias.
You're closer to here.
I've
than
been
we are.
pretty nice to the officials this week.
Say, I'm calling bias. You wanted to
2.
give them 1 in the
Just
second
2.
end, and then he just hung up a 3 ball.
One's there.
Everybody having a little bit of fun. That's one thing about this mixed doubles that I have to say. It is very sociable. After the games,
How's it look?
all the teams, virtually all the teams, or the majority of the Curtis come up and visit, have a drink, get some pictures.
Yeah, as much as some of these teams are playing very competitively and trying to get maybe to a world championship or the Olympics in this discipline, it's still a relaxing atmosphere for them. It's not the same as their four-player teams that they play hard
Yes.
all year
Don't
long.
go or
And,
jab because I think it'll skate.
you know,
it.
they don't get a chance to mix the men and the women very often. Even the
No.
couples that are here,
Edge or
when they're on the
flop or
road
low bar?
curling, they're usually not in the same place. So
That's right.
it's
different how
very
they
much a
get thrown
social
back
atmosphere here.
It is. It's great.
What justice hack normally?
Well, we saw the Carey Hodgson power play last, and they it was Mark Dacey trying the corner freeze. Here we're going to see Chelsea Carey try to tap the guard into the rings. This really curling on her. Makes the tap, but by hitting it that solid, this is going to come deep and by the red, and the shooter again stayed for a guard.
Yes.
Keep on him and we're good.
So advantage here to Dacey and Baxter early in their power play.
We're still shot.
What?
We're still shot. So, T-line fully. 85.
So looking to split the rings. It is 2 right now, and again, they won't be able to hit it just yet.
That's okay. How's the time?
I got a 95. It looked okay, but it's in the middle.
By the inside.
Yeah, you gotta go to BC.
Wants to make sure he's deep enough not to leave the double as well.
Yes.
Gonna have to go to get that deep.
Yeah, if I can.
And
I'm
I think
not
they
gonna
got
curl
it there.
much. I'd
Pretty
rather
much split the
nose
house.
guard than not get there, so. Oh no, left. Yeah.
Colin Hodgson now going to look to make the corner freeze, maybe tap that stone a little bit.
This shouldn't curl as hard because we've noticed on this side the
Let's do it,
in-turn
small
really
bounce.
curls. So typically when one turn curls hard, the other turn doesn't curl as much. Oh, it looks like a great shot. Oh,
But it
bounced
does
off a
still
bit.
curl, and they had to go a little bit for line to hold the inside corner. That gives it just a little bit of a bounce.
Yes.
It appears to be Dacey and Baxter.
Yeah.
That stone open on the other side is shot rock. Carey and Hodgson sitting
Back
second.
row.
I'm not sure who's sitting third right now.
Third. Can they get inside that? All we need to do is have them like inch outside nose on our team.
Whoa!
Jennifer Baxter looking to make a play on that yellow
Close.
stone, maybe move it back.
I can't fall that.
Whoa, yeah.
She dead freezes on it. It's not bad at this point in the end either.
Whoa, off.
Oh, that's
Whoa, let it curl. 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 Whoa, let it curl.
Boy, just gets it by her own and moves it enough to.
Oh, yes.
They might be sitting 3. 2 for sure.
So try and make that
What a
double.
great shot.
Get scary.
Great shot is right. Did they leave a red double though?
Well,
I know the guard is killing us.
yes and no. The double's there, except can you see enough of it by the guard?
Thin double over the top is real hard.
Colin was
We're
asking about
sunk
the
if I do
thin
this.
double over the top. I
Three.
don't know.
Try and walk it up a bit. Go nose. Hopefully they go nose, then we roll in. If not, if they roll away, they're not shot. If they roll in, we should have a hit and roll. I think we go nose. I don't want to walk in too much though. This will curl. Through it in practice, it'll curl. That's easy with a little left. Yeah.
So is Colin looking at throwing across the house double here?
No, right
No,
now he's
just
looking at just
nose
nose
hit.
hit. They're hoping for another nose hit, and then
And
there
then,
might be a cross
right.
the house double. That's what he's talking about, walking it up the rings.
Yep.
And the last thing he said, he's got to be careful not to roll. Of course, you roll, you come a little deeper, then gives Mark the chance to roll back, and you won't have walked it up at all. Doesn't have much room to roll to the outside if this is going to work. He's got to hit
I think
close
he's got
to
a
the
nose hit. Looks.
Okay.
Yeah,
The hit rolls a little bit to the center.
still might be okay because they think a nose hit will leave. Well, Mark's trying to make the hit and roll on this one.
Yeah,
Normal.
have to think if they're even looking at that, then it is just. Well, right now it's Carey and Hodgson
Yeah,
sitting
just normal's
one,
good.
but the red must be second shot, and that yellow at the
How's
back
that look?
must be third,
Right.
or you wouldn't even look at
Little more.
playing this yet.
It's pretty
Well,
good.
is
Yeah, we
nose
should never roll.
okay?
Yeah.
What?
Is nose okay?
I can't hear you.
Is nose okay?
No.
Well, then I bet it needs a little edge.
Did you say his nose good? Is that what you
Edge.
asked? Yeah. No.
You need carpet in here so you can actually hear people. We just need carpet so the noise doesn't just echo. It's so loud. in here.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, you might as well. Yep. Keep them apart. Okay.
Well, nose wasn't good, but it was better than rolling halfway there, so they called the brush on, and
So now
Wasted
there's
some
That was
long
a little
double.
more than normal.
Yeah.
I said
In turn or
normal.
out.
That was normal.
Okay. I thought it was fun.
You get more action. Well, out, I don't think I can ever hit that with the out anyways, but. Out.
Colin has a couple of options here. Hit the red one, and as long as he rolls across the house, there's one red one he can come to. He can come to the other red one, or I think he can come to this back yellow one behind the red one and still be lying shot rock after.
Probably could. It would be scary to come to your own and nudge it over, because if you ever left them enough to move this one, I'd like to get into the red one if it's me.
That's that's what he is.
That's the play for sure.
That's the play for sure.
It'd be dangerous to be thin on this, I think. And he was on this one right away. Makes the hit, does come thin, comes across and nudges his own out, and now they're sitting 2.
Sorry, like that out of my hand.
And Colin thought he had a good one. You heard him say he liked it out of his hand, but
Just stick it.
You just could not be thin on that one.
Weight's good here.
Or thinner, and we actually said shot off the yellow. So like either or, went right through that hole. Disaster.
Now Jennifer Baxter, a chance to just split the rings, and you don't even want to be too high on this one. He's got no catchers left at the back that do him any good.
Try and make that double.
They've got to be to the back of the 8-foot. They're working it hard so that they get it back to take away the double.
You could even be just full back 12 is okay.
Right. And it's pretty much where they've got it.
Made a really nice shot there.
That is in a good spot.
And those aren't easy. You don't, at any level of play, you don't ever throw to the back of the 8-foot. It's just not in your...
Make that double.
It's not in your mantra.
No,
it's not in your arsenal to
that's
be
heavy.
throwing.
As a rule, that's heavy. You don't like to throw back there.
For me?
But that's where that one had to be.
Just hit it, give up threes, whatever.
That one going over the top.
Hit something.
Looks so ridiculously thin.
Now, they did talk about the double. I don't know if they're actually going to give it a run or not.
I think
It's
they're
a little
talking about the
risky.
red double.
Actually, 2 ways you could make it. If you jam the first red onto the second one, there is a possibility.
Right,
the
of
shooter
going
comes
across the house and making the cross house double.
Chelsea setting up for the out turn. Looks like she is giving it a run. We know she can throw the weight.
Well, she's got the weight on this one.
Colin was on it right away. Now he's backed away a bit.
They've got
Makes the
1,
hit.
2, and look at this, rolled right in
The
front.
roll is
Wow.
actually better
Is
than the...
that any good?
That had to go quite a bit back, yeah.
Is that any good?
Didn't manage to kill 2, but the roll ends up
I
making
think
up
she's
for it.
frozen
Yeah,
on the top of it, lying shot rock.
yeah.
Can you try and thin it and catch one of these?
Wow.
I could do that.
I
If I hit it thin and we catch
Can he
it
throw it
low,
hard enough? We can't see the spacing between the 2 rocks, but possibly Mark can throw a heavy peel and pinch the yellow one out.
That'd be the intern.
He would lose a red one, but
Can't play that.
but have a shooter come across. That's
come
what they're
across
looking
into
at.
the other 2 yellow ones and maybe
That
save it.
might be his only chance for 2. I mean, you could try to pick that yellow clean, but you'd be hitting it so thin, I'm not so sure you wouldn't kill the red at the
Yeah.
back, too.
Yeah,
And you're in danger of not hitting it at all.
or if I can't quite tell, but if he just misses the yellow one, would he clip the red one and then get the other red double and roll out?
Oh, my goodness, he could. Well, that's the one where if he does that, though, you really don't want him to know you even looked at that as a possibility.
Oh, off. That's a bad sign. Does he have it? Does he have it? Does he have it?
Doesn't have just the back one.
So it's 1 yellow.
Not a good slide, and
One yellow.
Mark not happy with himself on that one.
But like I've said, in this game, the score is largely irrelevant until the game's over because 2 down coming home isn't a real problem.
No, you can
Well, yeah, we were trying to push it out and potentially catch on the back, but
definitely
You needed to
generate
make sure,
2
yeah,
easy
we
enough.
had
And
contact with it.
as you said, the last game we saw
but like
4
contact
points
with
scored in
Right.
at least scored it out to get our
last
point.
end just to get to an extra.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
I couldn't believe she made that roll dead free. Like, what are the frickin' chances of that? Like, What?
Yeah, and here you Jennifer Baxter talking about it still with one of the officials. That it's that roll, and I mean, it wasn't part of the call. It's
No,
just the way
it
it
wasn't.
worked out.
Yes.
But what are the chances? I mean, even if you were playing that, your chances of making it that good, you roll that off the, a quarter of a rock off. You just nose hit for two. It's, She welded it on there, on a roll that was coming across. What did that come across? 7 feet to get to to perfect freeze.
Crazy.
Let's make this one good. Let's get the line right. Zero on the line, I'll try and get it there for you. For me? So if your weight's been really close, I think just take a little tighter right so we're good. Yeah. Love to be right frozen would be perfect.
So listening to the discussion in the hack, sounds like they're opting to play the freeze here rather than the top button. Of course, they don't really need to score here. They just need to cut down the rings. They only want, they can hold them to one. They've got the game here.
Wait there.
Nice line coming by the guard. She will bring this right down to that red stone, moves it back about a foot. Does leave her stone on the back edge of the button. That's a good first shot. Mark Dacey's going to try to follow that down and move it just a little bit.
And 80, I think.
Yeah, they've got to set something up here for later on in the end.
The time must be getting a little tight. They're already talking about the timeout situation as well.
That's good. Hard. 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 You got to keep it straight. Yep. Keep going. Keep going. You got to keep it straight. Okay, we're good now.
Mark comes down, taps that back just a little bit. Shooter sits on the edge of the butt. And this is the last stone of the end where you can't remove anything from play, so Colin Hodgson will try to just move that back again.
Wait there.
Yes, these first 3 stones are usually draw or tap, tap,
Wait's good.
and then things happen.
Back button.
And this one's still got a lot of line. It's going to hit the red on the outside, which will put it onto that yellow at the back.
Am I just setting it that much past the room? Because, like, again,
Well,
like if I throw
early on here in this 8th end, you have to think that's advantage to Mark Dacey,
Back 12.
Jennifer Baxter.
Hey.
They've got the first opportunity certainly here. If you can get to the inside of this yellow, flop underneath, you'll be sitting first and second, both biting the button. One in front, one in the back.
Yes.
Whoa.
Time's away.
Whoa.
Back
Whoa.
12.
Whoa. Off.
Looks
Right
close.
Off. Close, though. No. Close,
Back.
yep. Oh.
Back.
Whoa. Close. Nope. Nope.
Still got
No,
room.
let it curl, let it
Yep.
curl,
Like to get to the inside here.
That's a good shot.
Well, gets just on the nose, passes it by those stones, and
if we want to kill it, just half.
still sits 1 and 2, and really no chance for the double. The angle wouldn't work out for them.
Hit and roll behind the guard is their best shot.
It is.
That's what they're trying to play.
Colin Hodgson here with his in turn, trying to tap this stone. Like to get to the inside. Again, needs to get something under cover here.
If he could hit and roll in behind the center guard, be a great shot.
Got a nice line now.
There it is. There it is. Maybe rolled a little bit too far, but still, with the rocks in behind the button there. I think it's in a very good position
Yeah,
right
there
now.
might be a piece sticking out, but to have a piece on that side is a little bit easier for them to work with right now.
You
Either
know,
a little corner freeze or a freeze to us is good.
Okay.
Draw the button. Where's the button?
Susan playing the straight draw to the button.
Mine's good. Hit it early.
Whoa,
Yep.
she's got
Early.
lots of
Hit
out.
it. Hit it.
Must be tight.
Oh, yep.
Gotta go.
Trying to hold that line out there early.
Yes.
And she said gotta go, so it might be light too.
Go, 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 go.
Corner freeze that yellow wouldn't be bad.
That's probably not all bad.
No, it's pretty good. If you ever move that guard,
Yes.
does that kill? Could you double the yellows with that?
I bet you could. Yes, you could.
It's hard to tell the line from here, but it
No, you
looks like
could.
it makes contact with
Yeah.
it.
So many angles, so many permutations and combinations in this curling. It drives me crazy watching it.
How do we not give?
Carey and Hodgson have called a timeout here.
I think they currently can run something in, but if it's our guard, it's okay. Then it's only 2. Yeah, that might not be good. If we guard this, we might leave them to run for 3 at the end. Just make the freeze good. We have to be there or we have to chip off and be heavy. We can never. This is brutal. Anywhere in front of here or here is brutal. This is the only good thing or deeper. Can we tap it and sit shot on the top if we ever have the line? If we straight jam that one, it probably sits right there for shot. Okay, let's make this shot. It's either that or I play the out turn, just chip it, but that's, okay.
I think Colin can leave that out turn for later on.
No,
Yeah.
that's good.
It'll always be there because you know that the opposition isn't going to be moving that yellow rock because there's no place to move it. So if they have to, they can play it later. The shot is the draw to the button. The draw that Susan had tried, the freeze on the red stone.
Colin Hodgson with his final stone here in the
Weight's pretty close.
8th end.
The weight's really good.
Wow, looks really good.
Weight perfect.
Boy, this is going sideways coming
it
into
caught.
the rings.
Oh,
Just that
That's
little
okay.
rub off.
Yes.
Didn't end up terrible.
No.
kind of got on the wrong side of it when I was sweeping. I'm like, I have to go for weights.
Okay.
Nose hit.
Okay.
So I think Jennifer looking at playing the guard straight back.
I think so. I think they've got to move a bunch of granite around to
Boy, but you
open
know,
it up.
You make this. You could be sitting 3 right here.
I
This
know.
could triple the yellows.
Well, this is looking close.
Oh, no.
No, and just
it's
starting
way
to
over
curl now.
curling, yeah.
Good try.
What?
Good try.
Still, what do you do now here if you're Chelsea Carey? Well, first of all, they're going to use their
Call a
timeout. So
timeout
I'm
first of
guessing
all,
they're
yeah.
still tight for time. Pretty hard for you to hit anything.
No
if you
kidding.
guard it, they can just run your guard back
So
again.
Unless
Are we
they
guarding
just
dead guarding it?
move Colin's rock back about 6 inches
What
and
else- what else
sit,
do we have?
Just to change
spill to the
angle.
middle. Yeah,
maybe.
change angle, spill into the middle.
Yeah, you just got to guard an eighth of a rock.
Or
half
just a
guard that?
straight guard
Yeah,
because
nothing there. Nothing on the intern side. No.
how do Reds
No, I
count
didn't
2
guard
if they throw a guard?
I think he runs the guard in.
No, you
If
chip
you
it.
catch that red right,
I guess you could
drive it
I
into the
think
middle of
I'd
the
rather
yellows, do you not
use
think you could
Yeah.
kill all 3 yellows?
They can
I
draw
think
around here. They
It's
can
too close to the
make it- I think you're guarding half.
yellow one it's in front of, and I don't think you can hit it fine enough to come in and off. Well, you could with big weight, but I think if you throw a guard on that, they don't have that.
Okay, throw the in.
Well, of course,
tell
you
you
can
what.
run the guard straight in, like you said. Yeah, you
Tell
could.
you what,
Yeah,
Mark's going to
yeah.
try it. And we know he
He'll
can throw it
try
hard
it.
enough.
No kidding.
But it's,
Dead guard it,
again, it's not easy when you got to run the
Okay, tell me where you need it to be for the line.
guard back.
What they've got to do is leave this guard as long as possible because, as you said, Mark's only shot will be to run this guard straight into
Oh, good, yeah.
the pile and try to clip the edge of the red one to get the double yellow and get the deuce for the tie.
Well, if he gets the double yellow, I'm not so sure that it doesn't clip that one at the back.
Yeah,
or 4
that
foot
very
too.
well
It
could
be a triple for 3.
Doesn't matter, just get the line right. So
It's almost
halfway
lined
through
up the way with the only way you can make it is to make the triple for 3.
Yeah.
it's good. You're 2 right now. Sweep it or no? Are we curl or no?
So the weight's good for the guard. It's just
It
a
is.
question of the line. And
Is it going to curl enough? Oh, yes. That is a good guard. Great guard.
Mark going to use a timeout as well.
Yeah. How does Mark get his deuce here? Can he draw? Can he play an out-turn draw onto right where Susan has her brush there?
Is there anything on the in-off on that guard way off to the right-hand side?
Not really,
I don't
because
see much.
no, because the
They're going to come into the rocks and the button area.
yellows
that
are
way.
going to come into the red one.
Mark's taking a long look at whether or not he thinks it'll clip that back one.
We win if we hit it. If we hit it, we're dead on the nose. We win.
And he thinks it's there. He said we win if we hit it
Yeah.
dead on the nose. So
Well, maybe.
If it doesn't catch that back.
We hear the applause for the local team here, the only Saskatchewan rink left, which is Kasner and Kaltoff. They just won their game to move on to
not
The
quite the
next
only
level.
Saskatchewan team left, though. They were the only ones playing tonight. Sherry Just and Ryan
Oh
Dice
yes, they're still in there.
had
I forgot about
advanced to
that.
the quarterfinals.
Finals.
So
They were-
they play tomorrow morning.
They're one of the top 4 teams to move into the quarterfinals right after round robin.
Yeah.
The rest of the teams here had either a second or third placing to make it into the next group of 8. They took the 4 teams.
took
Each team, the best team out of each pool, went straight into the 8s.
Exactly. Yes.
And then they took another 8 teams, so that there was a total
And
of
that
12
was- That
qualifying.
was the best 8 from across
Yep.
all the pools, and as
Yep.
it turned out, 7 of them were clear, and that's why we ended up with all those tiebreakers.
6 teams tied for that last spot.
Yep.
Here it comes.
Yep. Hard. Whoa, 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 whoa.
He's
This
in the
is close.
ballpark, makes the hit, brings it back, does get all 3 of them
What the
moving,
heck?
but 2 of the Reds get spun out at the same
Oh,
time,
yes.
made the
That
shot,
was so close.
and still only gets the single point. So it will be Chelsea Carey
What
and
a
Colin
throw.
Hodgson picking up the
What a
win.
great
Boy,
shot.
That's within a whisker of winning the game.
Of winning the game, of getting a 3-ender.
So Chelsea Carey, Colin Hodgson move on to the quarterfinals tomorrow morning. We will let you know as well. It was Marlies Kasner and Dustin Kaltoff winning their game. The team of Dana Ferguson and Brendan Botcher won their game against Weigel and Epping. And the Murphys coming through the tiebreaker scenario this afternoon pick up the victory over Kaylin Virtue and Charlie Thomas, past champions in this event. So they move on to play in the quarterfinals tomorrow morning as well. We will be with you for that at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Gene, thanks for joining me here tonight.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And we hope to see everybody at 9 o'clock.